Long in the tooth, but still here. And it's always a pleasure to be the man up front letting the program roll, and particularly for me, a lover of the theater, an actor, a playwright, when it's fellow artists who have the limelight, because as I've said, the word to use is kindred spirits. And I must thank those in the name of FilmAid who have made it possible. The donors, the sponsors, everybody who has made this possible, because all of us artists know that if you don't have some sort of support, some sort of patronage, nothing much happens. So you will be thanked, we will see you, but thank you very much for making this happen. And I make a personal appeal for it to continue until we're at least 60. I might not be around then, but it should continue anyway. So, I want to let you into a secret. We have, if I say heavy program, you're going to get the jitters. So let me use another word from the thesaurus. I'm going to say healthy program. And our healthy program was meant to end at about 9:30, but because the elements have been against us and we've been waiting for you to arrive, we've started a bit late. So, I want to make a sort of disclaimer. I know that in our midst are some very influential people, and I also know from the notes that I have to read about each individual speaker that there are some very impressive bios that I might read. But when I was doing the performer's homework of practicing, I realized that if I read each and every bio on my script, I would take up an hour of your time, which I'm sure wouldn't make you enamored of me. So do forgive me if for the most part I just give your current title and the rest of us will assume your glorious past. So, with that, let me stick to my word. I am going to introduce, first of all, the Executive Director of FilmAid Kenya. Let's be rather informal and just say it is Stella Suge.
Thank you very much, John, for also being here with us each year. We greatly appreciate your performance. Our guest of honor, the Deputy Ambassador from the Embassy of the Kingdom of Netherlands, Mr. Joris van Bommel. He's lived long enough in Kenya, so he's late. Representation from the UN, we have Lauren Landis from World Food Programme, Ms. Caroline Juki from the ILO, Shaheen Nilofer, they were meeting today for the first time, from UNICEF, Jeff Savage from the UNHCR. We have representation from the GIZ, my dear friend Agnieszka. Timothy, the CEO of Kenya Film Commission, is joining us. Ms. Fatuma Sanbur from the Internews network, country directors from and representatives from the NGOs that serve refugees, all friends and partners of FilmAid Kenya, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. So as John has introduced me, my name is Stella Suge. I am the Executive Director of FilmAid Kenya, and it's a great pleasure to have you this evening. And we are happy that you could spare some time to be with us. This is our 16th annual film festival, and I'll just kind of speak briefly to explain why we have the film festival. So FilmAid is an organization that focuses on providing information, creating platforms for communication, and ensuring that there is space for dialogue within the refugee operation as well as its hosting communities. And for us to be able to do that, we have to have the voices of the communities, we have to engage with the communities, and therefore we provide training in all areas of communication. Because we're FilmAid, so the primary tool of communication is film, but we also provide training in journalism, we provide training in theater and other forms of communication for which the communities that we serve appreciate. So the end of the training program has the students produce independent films. This class that we are celebrating tonight is a class of 22 individuals from the Dadaab and Kakuma refugee camps, and within that we have members of the host community from Turkana and Garissa counties. So these students have already presented their films to their own communities in Dadaab and Kakuma. We have been in Nairobi also presenting the films together, and we have taken the advantage to also have dialogue around important issues that affect refugees. One of sort of the landmarks of the dialogue sessions, many of them, one of them was actually coincidental to the Africa Climate Summit, which was a discussion on the nexus of climate change and displacement, which is an important discussion. And when I reflected on that discussion, the Africa Climate Summit was very much around big words, policies, negotiation at high level, finances, politics, and everything like this. How does that translate to something that a refugee in Dadaab or Kakuma understand? And this is something that is critical that these individuals that are graduating tonight are going to be able to do in the future, because they are becoming communication specialists. Simplify, make it in a language that the people understand, in a simple way, in a way that communities appreciate information. So these are amongst some the reasons why we are providing training, that individuals from the community may be able to communicate effectively in a way that communities value to get that information. One of the things that we are proud of as FilmAid Kenya is really, I would say, protecting the voice and the representation of the community. If any of us goes to the camps and talks about the situation, it doesn't represent because we don't have the experience. But if Santos, working at RefFM, talks about what's happening in the camp, he knows because he's living that experience. So we are proud to train the students in order to protect where the communities come from, their experience, and what the community is living. So we want to talk about protecting their voice and representation of the community, because of course in this sector we are also masters of hijacking that, interpreting that, and we don't really have enough information to talk about that. This evening I want to make two types of appeals. One, to really all the development partners, is that I have been to Dadaab a number of times in the last 6 months, and the situation, I would say, is unacceptable. And it's not enough to say that there is not enough funding coming to the global south. We have to protect each individual globally, irrespective of the situation that they're going through. This is something that is universal, because we are human, and the dignity of each individual needs to be protected. The situation in Dadaab needs to be addressed, and that means the development partners need to reconsider the decisions that they've taken about the funding that needs to be given. And for FilmAid specifically, so the training program that we are running also is not fully funded, and we appeal to all of you as you meet these individuals, is to know that FilmAid is not capable of really continuing this program without all of you increasing your support to enable us to continue the media training program. And we know that the impact of this program is significant. The people that go back, get any kind of durable solutions, and particularly going back to their countries of origin, are already building an industry. If you go back to South Sudan, if you go back to Somalia, communication is going to be a very primary need to talk about all the issues that need to be addressed in those countries. And therefore, the work that we are doing, as it relates to any of the durable solutions, is actually critical. So I wanted to just put this across to all the individuals that are here, that you may extend a hand to practitioners, organizations like ourselves, FilmAid Kenya, that is a national organization, we need to cross the barriers of the hierarchies of national, international, and so on, and enable FilmAid, an organization that is on the ground, to continue this kind of training, to work with the communities to make a difference. I want to just to mention specifically the support that we're receiving. The media training program is made possible by Hollywood Foreign Press Association. Ms. Fatuma Sanburi is coming on as a representative from the Internews network, that is the prime recipient of the grant from Hollywood Foreign Press Association. The film festival has been supported by GIZ. We have Agnieszka here, the Embassy of the Kingdom of Netherlands. Our guest of honor is coming later on, but I see Rufus, a long-time friend of FilmAid. The Regional Durable Solutions Secretariat, Freddie. We have the Royal Danish Embassy in Nairobi. The World Food Program, we have a good representation with Miss Lauren and Nick present here tonight. The UNHCR, we call you the big brother, so big brother is here as well. Jeff, Jennifer, a great pleasure. And we have the Kenya Film Commission that is becoming an important partner, including looking into how we do the policies that are being made by government for the creative people, for filmmakers, actually include refugees. How does FilmAid become an institution that can give accreditation to the students that we're training? So we are happy and we are proud. We are honored to be in partnership with all of you who are funding FilmAid programs, as well as particularly for this film festival. John Sibi is a great performing artist, so we will have a great night. Sit back, enjoy, relax. Karibuni.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is noble in the mind, whoops. I was getting carried away. You know what it is to invite artists to speak. I would like to invite the Assistant Representative for Protection, UNHCR, Jeff Savage.
Good evening, everyone. It's alive. You have to be careful when you come up here. Okay, it's good. Yeah, I'm very happy to be here tonight to represent UNHCR. Really, I've been working with FilmAid since January 2009, when my first assignment in Kenya was in Dadaab. I worked with him also after that in Kakuma, so I'm very happy to be here tonight to celebrate together with FilmAid the great work that has been done by the refugees and by the local Kenyans who are involved in the FilmAid project in Dadaab and Kakuma. Kenya has hosted refugees for many, many decades, currently hosting about 630,000 that are registered, but we think by the end of this year at least 700,000 refugees will be registered by the government of Kenya and hosted by the government of Kenya and the people of Kenya. Kenya is not alone. To put things in perspective, there are currently 35 million refugees globally. About 15% of those refugees are in this region, in East Africa. 5.4 million refugees are hosted by countries within this region. And Kenya is not alone, as I said. 1.6 million refugees hosted by Uganda at the moment, 1.3 million by Sudan, and of course Sudan is having its own troubles at the moment, so a lot of refugees have moved back home or onto other countries and are facing very serious issues there. 900,000 refugees living in Ethiopia. So I'm just giving you this perspective that Kenya is one among many countries in Africa and throughout the world who are hosting refugees. And this presents a great deal of challenges for the government of Kenya, for other governments in the region, and for all of those within the Kenyan communities who are hosting refugees. I would like to say, though, that this is really one of the most exciting times that we've had in Kenya and in my personal career. Very exciting with the, currently we're on the ongoing formulation of the Sharika Plan. I'm sure you've heard of this. It is a plan that is being developed by the government of Kenya with support from UNHCR, from donors, from development partners, other UN agencies, NGOs. Everyone's really working together to make this really happen and become a success. The idea is to promote a situation where refugees and Kenyans live together in one community, benefiting from inclusion in national programs, benefiting from programs that are designed to facilitate self-reliance. This is, I think, the most important component of what we are trying to achieve through the Marshall Plan, along with peaceful coexistence, promoting Kenyans and refugees to live together, promoting peaceful coexistence between different refugee groups within the camps, but also, and perhaps most importantly, economic development in refugee hosting areas. This is something that the Shrika Plan is really hoping to achieve, building the economies in these areas so that people can prosper, they can find jobs, they can get the skills they need to be able to support themselves and their families until they can find a longer-term solution, either going back home to their country of origin or finding a solution in a third country. The project that FilmAid has implemented with these filmmakers who we're going to be seeing tonight is essentially the Shrika Plan in action, giving refugees skills that they can use to earn an income. And not just refugees, but Kenyans as well. And that's one of the things that I wasn't actually aware until earlier tonight. I had the opportunity to sit and have a nice 40-minute or 45-minute chat with all of the refugee and Kenyans who are involved in this project. And I thought it was just refugees. So I'm very happy to hear that Kenyans are being involved in this as well. Kenyans from Turkana and Garissa County are benefiting from this project as well. So that's very important, and I'm very happy to hear that. But really what we're hoping to achieve through the Shrika Plan is to look for solutions. Resettlement is one thing that many refugees want, but very few of them are ever going to be able to benefit from that. Less than half of 1% of the world's refugees will have an opportunity for resettlement. But then we have this other category we call complementary pathways, looking at educational scholarships in third countries, family unification, other forms of sponsorship, and perhaps most importantly for the discussion we're having tonight, labor migration, looking at how refugees can acquire skills that they can then benefit from these programs. And I really hope that the scholars, the filmmakers that we're seeing today will apply for these programs, because it can give them an opportunity separate from resettlement to find a solution in a third country, to get a job once they get there, or if they go home, to use the skills to improve their lives once they return and to support sustainable return and reintegration. So keeping in mind my boss over here is saying that we're behind schedule, I will wrap it up there, but I do want to say thank you very much to FilmAid and to everyone else who is here tonight for the work that you're doing to support refugees and host communities in Kenya. And really, I wish all of the filmmakers good luck. We'll see who wins, but as I said to them earlier, whether they win or not, they're all winners, because they're learning skills, they're going to be able to support themselves, support their families in the future. So I wish them the best of luck, and I wish all of you that. Thank you very much.
Jeff, whenever anybody calls me my boss, I can understand the will to power. I should become powerful one day in this life. My next speaker is the first person whom I met this evening who was going to speak. So I said, given the power, Jeff, bestowed unto me, I'm going to allow her to speak for as long as she likes. How about that? The WFP Country Director, Lauren Landis. Speak away.
Good evening, everyone. You know what actually happened this evening is I told John, I believe in quick. Let's keep it concise. I got 3 points. So now he's given me the opportunity to speak all night long. But I will keep it quick, because I think the important part is to come and to see who wins these wonderful awards. I'm the country director for the World Food Program. That means we work with UNHCR to provide food assistance, in the refugee camps to all of the refugees, as well as working particularly in the arid and semi-arid regions of Kenya with Kenyans. I won't go into that tonight. My 3 points are really why I really treasure FilmAid. Well, point 1 is telling the story. You know, the World Food Program works really hard to get donors to come in and provide food assistance to refugee camps year after year, 30 years. And it's a difficult sell sometimes because lots of times donors think of Kenya as the place they go on safari. Why should they be providing any sort of food assistance to camps? So usually what I do is try and get them to make a visit, to come into the country, travel up to Dadaab, travel to Kalobey, and really see the situation on the ground. And when I can make that happen, it's usually quite effective in terms of people really understanding the situation. But often that's not feasible. You can't, COVID, you can think of so many reasons why people don't necessarily get on the plane to see it for themselves. And that's when the documentaries, the stories, the films coming out of those camps by FilmAid really helps to tell the story, the real story, the true story by those who actually live in the camps. And it's extremely effective in telling the story and sending the message. So I just want to say thank you very much for that. The second thing that I really appreciate is bringing it to the public. You know, I'm laughing a little bit tonight because there's 3 of us that are here who one morning very, very early, I didn't even know you could get up this early, and went and sat on, it was World Refugee Day. We were on TV for Citizen TV. And on World Refugee Day, we told the Kenyan public about this new Sharika plan. And it's a change in policy, and it's a change in approach, and it isn't necessarily popular, right? But the story needed to be told. We needed to explain what was going to happen. So they gathered government and UN agencies, and they used the films, and FilmAid organized it. And I really felt that it was a tremendous, effective way to tell the population of Kenya what was going on in this new plan. And I really appreciate FilmAid's sort of linking their documentation along with policy change in an effective way. And I think it's a real mission that I appreciated and one that I'd like to see more of. I'm sure you've got tons of ideas how to make it happen. And the third point I was going to make, and I will still make, although I think our executive director has already beat me to it, on Sunday, courtesy of UNHCR, I spent in Dadaab with the commissioner for COP28. And what did we see? We saw the new arrivals coming into that camp, and the situation is horrible. We went shelter to shelter, and FilmAid, among others, interviewed refugees who are, in effect, climate refugees. They came, they left their homes due to drought, they traveled under horrendous conditions, and they are barely surviving in horrendous conditions. But I feel very much so that the president of COP28 had in front of him climate change in the most drastic environment and faced by the most vulnerable populations who had not caused this situation. So yes, change needs to be taken, decisions need to be made, but I think you, as FilmAid, served an important role in getting that story out and making that change happen. So thank you for that. So I'll just end by saying I really want to thank FilmAid for their dedication and hard work in organizing this festival and providing the platform for all of these amazing films. I really encourage the audience to immerse yourself in the stories that are being told, the meaningful discussions, and being inspired to take action that needs to be taken. So I just wish everyone an enjoyable evening. Thank you.
Well, Lauren has rejected my offer to be a Fidel Castro retread, and that's okay. I can live with that. The next speaker, the ILO representative, Caroline Njoki. ILO stands for International Labour Organization.
Thank you so much, John. Good evening. Good evening. Just trying to warm things up. It's a very chilly evening, and I would like to thank everyone for coming, and also recognize really the amazing work that Stella continues to do. And she does this in rather difficult circumstances, and every time I meet with her, and I know that there has been reduction in funding, but she still keeps going and still keeps smiling. I don't know how you do that, Stella. So thank you for all that you do for refugees and host communities, I should add. To recognize my UN colleagues, partners, those that are supporting this work, the students whose films we are going to see this evening, and all the guests present, and of course John, where is he, for being with us. I think this is the second or the third year that I see him, so thank you John for that. The work that Stella does provides agency, voice for refugees. I say that I've been doing this work for 15, 16 years, which is my entire professional life, which tells you I'm not so young anymore, unfortunately. And I still cannot pretend to speak for refugees. I see, we see, but we cannot express enough. I do not wake up in Dadaab. I do not wake up in Kakuma. I do not wake up in Kitengela or Nakuru or those other places that refugees live in. I may empathize, and I do, and that's why I do what I do, and many of you do what you do. But that voice of saying I could never say I, in regard to how refugees live, and that is the voice that that Stella and the work that FilmAid does provides. It is about dignity, it's about agency, it's about people telling their own stories, and personally I'm a storyteller. That's a fancy word, lot. And everyone wants to tell their story, but not every refugee does not get a platform to be able to express and speak about how they live, what their needs are. But not just needs. Oftentimes we think it's just needs, it's also their aspirations, the opportunities that abound. But also the work that FilmAid does and Stella leads on aids our work, aids the work that WFP does, aids the work that UNHCR does, aids the work that UNICEF does, the work that is done by community-based organizations, by refugee-led organizations. And really, I'll keep coming back to this, which then tells us that Stella and FilmAid should not continue struggling. We need to look into our hearts first, and then into our pockets, or into our pockets first and then our hearts, to support this work. We, as the ILO, recognize that, and we've had, small, but we hope, we believe they've been impactful partnerships with FilmAid. We are in the process of hopefully finalizing a much larger partnership. And this partnership will support different work that FilmAid does. For us, we look at it from an employment perspective. Probably 80 of us that are seated in this hall wake up to go to work. And we do not realize how important work is, or we take it for granted until we don't have work. And I'll tell you how important work is. Probably 60 to 70%, if not 80%, of the contacts in your address book most likely arise from work or a connection to work. That is social capital. I'm standing here because of the work I do. Jeff is here because of the work that he does. I would never have met him, or Jennifer, or anyone. But we take it for granted. You know why? Because we have it. It's a given. The former PS ICT, Bitanga Demo, I think that's his name, once said, spoke to the need for work and how work helps us build social capital, but also relationships that make our lives more meaningful. And he said that the day he ceased being, then it was permanent secretary, he woke up the next day and he wondered if his battery had died. Because previously, the phone would be ringing endlessly. Hello, Mheshimiwa, have a good evening, Mheshimiwa, good morning, how are your children? And this particular morning, there was nothing coming. So he thought, no, probably the battery has drained, or no, it's on silent. It was neither of those. It was neither of those. The battery was fully charged, and it was probably very loud on the setting. People stopped calling. And that happens with the rest of us. Your social capital begins to wane when you cease holding the positions that we do. I'm speaking to what opportunities work opens for us. And I would like to extend that to why this is important for refugees. Refugees have agencies that want to work. There are fewer opportunities for work in our country. True. What are our unemployment rates? 90% of Kenya is in the informal sector. That is the same sector where refugees try to eke a living. But at the same time, they have those very specific challenges that the rest of the Kenyan society do not have. Kenyans can Fuliza. Oh, no one recognizes Fuliza. I thought faces will light up. Fuliza is when you don't have enough credit on your phone or money, and you can buy on credit and pay it wherever you can. Refugees cannot do that because many of them are not able to run M-Pesa. M-Pesa, the most inclusive approach to financial inclusion that all of us, almost, see, I almost made a mistake. We say all of us use, almost all of us use. They cannot, and that hinders their ability to, pursue income-generating opportunities in the very small space where they can. because refugees are not getting jobs in big private sector or in government offices. And I know many of them, that's not where they are. They're like, how can I really make an income? I don't want to make this very technical. And we as the ILO, that's the work we are supporting, trying to see how is it that, one, we can support refugees to acquire skills that are meaningful, that can transition to earning, so that you don't have a skill, but you cannot translate that into money. Skilling is good, but it's only as good as it can help you put food on the table. Enabling enterprises, trying to unlock financing for refugees in the context of the challenge that I have spoken to. And very importantly, and FilmAid is going to support that, is the work around social protection. In this part of the world, many of us are only one hospital bill away from absolute poverty, even the middle class. So you're a refugee, you start a small business, it's 30,000 shillings, and then your relative falls sick, and in this part of the world, you don't watch your relative struggling with illness. You go and collect all the money from the previous week's sales and, pay to the hospital. And then what? You're back to zero. That against being able to pay. Many refugees can pay 6,000. Many can pay, and they would like to pay. But they've also told us, we don't know how to pay. We don't know how to sign up to NHIF. And they would rather sign up, pay 6,000, and we've been told it will come down, and we hope it comes down, than, give up the 30,000 from their business money. And so we are going to be partnering with FilmAid and NHIF and other partners, UNHCR, to create awareness around these as more opportunities become available to refugees. As I finished last year, as I was at the festival, I was looking at the graduating class, and I was wondering, how is it that we can support some of those graduates to upskill? No doubt, the training at FilmAid is fantastic, but our world is changing. Some of the biggest earners, have, I don't know whether it's called a tripod. You do a dance, you post it. I don't know why some of us are still not making money like this, because we can't dance. And the digital platforms have become really powerful, but also platforms for earning. And we discussed with Stella, how is it that we can help these young people upskill, get skills that unlock even further earnings, and that's part of the partnership that we are engaged with. And I hope even for this graduating class, Stella, we can have some, if not all, go through the upskilling, the mentorship, the hand-holding that really helps them transition to earning. And so, ladies and gentlemen, friends, thank you once more for coming. And I will finish with the appeal that we continue supporting the work, the very important work that FilmAid continues to do. Asanteni sana.
Thank you, Caroline. I was listening very carefully to what she was saying, and I have my own anecdote to add to the one about becoming nothing once you haven't got a job. There was a recent conference here about energy, electrical energy, and how it could be powered. And as MC, I saw a PS from the former government come and sit very sort of, rightfully at the front. And just before we started, all the president's men from the new regime came and said, "Who are you?" I said, "Get out of here, go and sit over there." So I was very glad to be an MC. I'll just say, the next speaker is the last person I was introduced to for the first time today, and I asked her how to pronounce her name. So given my largesse of spirit and the powers conferred unto me, you too can speak for as long as you like. The UNICEF representative, Shaheen Nilofer.
Good evening, all of you. I'm very honored to be here today, and a pleasure meeting you, Stella, and nice to be here this evening with all the young representatives from Kakuma, Kakubay, and Dadaab. I'm just about 7 months in Nairobi as representative for Kenya, so I will only have mambo ni matatu. Inform, engage, and inspire. A lot have already been said by my colleagues from Lorraine and Caroline and Jeff. I'm not here going to talk about what we are doing in camps. I'm basically here to see what you have been going to present to all of us this evening, but it's very important to also talk about what we are doing from the perspectives from where you are coming from. I remember in the month of May, when the executive director of UNICEF visited, we took her to Dadaab, and that was my first visit to the camp here in Dadaab, and we met 2 children, 11-year-old boy from Somalia, and he was sent forcibly by his father to join the rest of the other families who were coming to Dadaab because he feared his son's life. He feared his sons might be taken in by Al-Shabaab, and that's how he severed his connection. The only means of connecting with his family was once in a week he would get to use the mobile phone from one of his, connector from Somalia and give a call. Then I met probably a 14-year-old girl who came all the way from South Sudan with 7 of her siblings. And it took almost about a couple of weeks of a journey traveling from South Sudan to Dadaab. She had a choice to go to Kakuma, but she chose to come to to Dadaab, because she heard that there are families from South Sudan, her neighborhoods, who are already in Dadaab. So there was a kind of an affiliation to somebody who she was familiar with. And the kind of stories she mentioned about not just her, but her younger siblings who had to go through without food, without water, the arduous long walk across the mountains, and difficult uncharted terrain, and all of that until she landed here. And these are the very powerful stories. And these are the stories that makes you think, are you doing enough? Is there need to do more? And this is what Stella has been saying. It's not enough to say that there are no funds or there are limited funds. What can we do about it? Who makes this financial decision, sitting at where? And what needed to be done to influence and shape the policies about financial budgetary allocations? We know that the crisis after crisis has hit North and Northeast Kenya. And there have been, spate of crisis. We've seen drought, 5 long seasons of no rains, the drought situation. We've seen, while they were in the middle of the crisis of the drought, food security, the lack of a food crisis, water crisis, children out of school, number of girls getting married much before than they should have, girls getting out of the school, you name it. The template of the North and Northeast Kenya speaks about not just what the drought could be attributed to, but a long history of chronic unemployment, underdevelopment, neglect, exclusion, poverty. And to name it, when they have such crisis, humanitarian in nature, when water crisis hits them, food crisis hits them, no shelter, children not going to school, there are no meals available at home and in the school, it only makes more worse. And so therefore, when we hear about the storytelling is not just about the annual reports that we make back to our donors. The stories, the most powerful stories which comes with a greater legitimacy, stories which has a much more bigger agency, as Caroline mentioned, the voice agency, are actually the stories which are of pride, which is of a hope, which is of optimism. Because you are the ones who authored the stories, because you experience those. And so therefore it becomes much more important not just to be a part of your story, but to listen to those stories and do something about to ensure the stories must lead to something, to better the lives of the people, the children, the women, and the young. I come from Eritrea. I was there for about 4 years before I came to Nairobi in Kenya. And I understand the situations all of you know probably better than me, being in the region, but we've always heard about. There are just about 20 households who have been left behind, but a large majority of the population that already left the country and settled elsewhere, and when they want to come back to their own country, to their own homeland, and we could see what it means to them, and we could really feel. I can never be able to feel what they feel, because we've not necessarily gone through the experience that they have. So I wouldn't take much long, but I'm very glad to be here today, and as UNICEF, with the support from Netherlands, for the prospects programs that we do, we are trying to do as much as best. As you know, the numbers of footfalls are only increasing. We heard Lauren speaking about the number of people, because of the political instability, because of the crisis across the world, in the neighboring countries, coming to Dadaab and Kakuma are only increasing. And we have seen the hospitals there, which is being administered by the Kenya Red Cross Society, the number of children, undernourished children, and those who need treatment, the number of women who are going through, a difficult maternal health issues are only increasing. So we do work with the support of the prospects from the Netherlands, from ECHO and other donors, but that's not enough. And we know that through these stories that you talk about, the issues that the children, the young people are going through and experiencing day and night. But it is also about how you've been able to not just look into their experiences, but also you've been able to survive, and survive with dignity, survive with pride, and you've come across. And that's the platform I think Kenya, the FilmAid Kenya has been able to provide, to see some of those powerful stories, to see some of these exhibitions that are being displayed internationally. That is about telling the stories of resilience. And this is so very important in the current context, is not just to sit and wail about what is not working well, but it is necessarily being taking charge of your own life, and through these mediums of audio, visual, photography, and videography, being able to tell your stories to the rest of the world. The most privileged one, the most entitled ones, the most empowered ones, who can ever feel what the children and the girls and the boys and the women undergo, their experiences and what they go through in Kakuma and Dadaab. So today, I think it is more than ever important to necessarily see, while the Sharika plan is a wonderful opportunity to ensure the greater reintegration happens with the host community, but it is also important to see those spaces which has already been occupied by the very privileged and entitled, to necessarily create those spaces for everybody, to make sure it's not just inclusive, but it is also about being respectful for the experiences that they have come through. So I'll end here, but I would really like to thank all our donors who have been able to help us to undertake some of these initiatives in nutrition, child protection, and education, but also enable through the FilmAid Kenya to tell the stories of what we have been able to do. So hongera to all of you who have been part of this great history, but also congratulations to the cohort who would be graduating tonight. And thank you once again, FilmAid, and thank you for your 5 decades of your experience, John. You've only become more richer and more younger. God bless you.
I like the last sentence. I like the last sentence. My microphone is not working. It's gone green. I don't know, I've got a loud voice anyway. It's not working.
2 2 1 2 2 2 iko huku inawaka 1 2 1 2 kule inawaka hapa ndo hakuna 1 2.
Hello. Ooh.
Nella bionda.
Yes, that's okay. We're all here to celebrate creativity and art, and the next part of our program is going to be geared to watching some films. So, telling you the story of my life, I taught French for years and years, and one of the things that people in classrooms want to know is, when is this lesson going to end? So, to give you some idea, we're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4 films representative of the work being done. Then we're going to hear some more speeches, and then we'll move on to some awards, and there'll be a Hollywood Oscar moment when we'll know the overall winner, then we'll go home. So before we get to that stage, I was wondering whether I could have a volunteer from the student community, hands up, teacher said, who is prepared to talk to us about the experience of being part of the FilmAid program. Is there anybody who could have a minute or two to say what it's been all about? Sir, please take the stage and begin by introducing yourself.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, again, the techie is not helping us. Tafadhali. You can borrow mine.
Indeed. I'm called Khalif Muhammad Hashi from Dadaab, especially Hagadero Camp. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for gracing us your presence here. We are about to showcase a film that we did in the refugee camps. It's a fulfillment of what we have learned for almost 9 months. Those films that you are about to watch are did by the students who graduated for FilmAid. And actually, despite the challenges, they believe that one time, they can be a director, a cinematographer, a writer, and a scriptwriter. So, without wasting much time, welcome and have a watch. Thank you so much.
Right, the films are going to last 40 minutes in all. Thank you very much for your concentration. I'm simply going to introduce each one by title, and please watch and please enjoy. Film number 1, Welcome to Kakuma, 11 minutes.
General thought about refugee camps are crazy. It's like a refugee camp is like a big international city, like any other. Yeah. We have so many things that a big city has. Like we have restaurants and hospital. I can show you if you want.
Okay.
Sure, let's go. Refugee camp hosts different nationalities, and we live together in peace, just like in big cities. Okay, we have Ethiopians, Burundians, Sudanese, Rwandese, Somali, and many more. We have schools, basketball, footballs, table tennis, libraries, hair salons, and chess, checkmate, Hilton hotels. We even have an airport! And many other fun things. I arrived in camp 2 months ago. It was hard at first, but now I'm getting used to it. Kakuma is described as a refugee camp, while Kalboye is described as a refugee settlement. They are a bit different. I live in Kakuma, it's a large camp. My home is just past Hong Kong, in Kakuma 1, Zone 1, Block 7. Okay, this is where I live. We are about 1,000, and somehow I'm related to all of them. So let me show you around. Let's go. So this is my uncle Peter. Hi, uncle.
Hi, nephew. Where are you going?
I'm going home. Hello.
How are you? Hello.
This is my uncles. Two of them here.
How are you?
Hi, auntie. That was my auntie, like, let's say my mom's sister. So here is our church, our evening church, but we are not supposed to pray right now, but from 7 to 8. Let's go. This is my great auntie. My great auntie. Daddy? This is my uncle. Daddy, she's my great grandma. Yeah. So let's go this way. This is my room. Yeah. Our small shamba. This is my favorite uncle. He's blind but very smart. Even he can write text messages on his phone. I don't have a coach, but for me, we hang out with friends, we play together, and we watch videos and also YouTube to get some special tricks. And sometimes my grandmother thinks that I watch too much, but I don't think so. When I am walking down the street wearing a basketball clothes, some community looks at me strangely, like they have negative thoughts, but I don't care. Kakuma Refugee Camp and Kalbeye Refugee Settlement are both located in Turkana, home to the Turkanas. They are our hosts here and share this land with us. Kalboye is 16 kilometers north of Kakuma. Kalboye is different from Kakuma. They call it a settlement because refugees and Turkanas live and work here together. If you see here, this is a refugee community, and over here is a Turkana village. I like the Turkana. Whenever I see them, I think they are looking so nice.
Turkana, my fatherland. land that has rich. You find a lot of animals. Milk flowing like the honey. I love my Turkana land, my motherland. Turkana, a land whereby you can welcome any visitors. And the people who are peaceful will get a lot. If we go across Lake Turkana, we'll get people from different areas of Kenya trying to fish. I love my Turkana, my motherland Turkana. There was a trauma when they first arrived in Turkana because nobody knew where they came from. And also the language communication was so much difficult. This trauma, the people were saying that they're coming to take their land. And also they say that they're coming to spoil our environment. Since I was a young man, I've seen this land going through many changes. Even though I have lost my eyesight, I've still got memory of the things that I can do. And I'm encouraging myself to bring others to the knowledge that I have and obtain the skills that I've already got to do certain activities instead of working to grow business and other activities I like. The Turkana people are still maintaining their culture, from shoes to shukas, and also the coats that they can put on, and beads, beads, and especially hats. There are different types of dressings, attire that Turkanas put on. Especially, you may identify a married lady with a ring, with a golden ring on the neck, on the beads. Yes, yeah, it is true. Some people, the way the people say that some Turkana have invented also some of these, that is true. Kakuma has very rich history, having people who are in need. The agencies that came here sprang up with the refugees, and the same agencies also tried to help the host community, which made them integrate in all fields of life. The Turkana community is a welcoming community. If it was not a welcoming community, you would not have allowed even refugees to settle here. You would have forced them. Yes, the agents have been good for the Turkana also, because at least they could share something, certain percentage to the host community, and also employment was created. The Turkana people have tried to move very much, especially from pastoralism to agro business. They never knew how to grow the vegetables before, but they have known how to grow the vegetables that they can sell and market them locally.
Very much. Film number 2, The Other Dadaab. 6 minutes.
This is the Dadaab refugees camp in northeastern Kenya, located about 100 kilometers from Somali border. It's one of the world's largest refugee settlements, housing over 250,000 people. When you hear a refugee camp, the first thing that comes into your mind is disparate people living in tents, depending on handouts, but that is only one side of the story. Hi, my name is Ahmad Abdullah Hussein. I've been living in the Dadaab refugee camp for the last 20 years. I'm 26 years of age. Join me today as I take you to the other side of the Dadaab. That's the Dadaab that the media does not show you. First established in 1991, it hosts only about 90,000 people fleeing the civil war in Somalia. Dadaab has grown to be the third largest city in Kenya, hosting up to 500,000 people in 2011. In addition to Somalis, there are many other refugees from the region, including South Sudan, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Burundi, Uganda, and DRC. We celebrate our diversity and live together peacefully. Like any other city, Dadaab has a vibrant market where you find everything you need, from sweeties to smartphones. There are cars, cinemas, hair and beauty salons, and ICT centers where young people study computer skills. In fact, Dadaab injects up to $25 million annually to the local economy, according to a recent report. This proves that refugees are economic partners, not a burden to the host community. Although the UN provides food such as maize, beans, and oil to the refugees who are in the Dadaab camp, but mostly children need milk, they need meat, they need fish, and all kinds of food for proper nutrition of children. So parents who are living in the camp have to struggle for them to get work, for them to do business, so that they can support their children nutritionally. The camp is like a prison. There is nowhere you can go due to Kenya's incumbent policy. So the only escape route I have is social media, which I use to connect with friends in abroad. I also go to Cyber Cafe, which provides me a temporary window through which I explore the world beyond the Dadaab. Through Facebook, I chat with my friends and family members who are resettled in US and Europe. I also go to a local gym where I work out and catch up with other friends. This is not what you expect in a refugee camp. The gym is run by a group of refugee youth. Most of these young men were born in the camps and have never been outside. The youth here are very active and they run various projects to support their community. This Dagaile Media Training Institute, initiated and run by refugee youths. This way I've started my basic journalism course. I was brought to the Dadaab refugee camps when I was only 6 years old, fleeing the civil war that have erupted in our country, Somalia. I've gone to school here, both primary and secondary education in the camp. All my years I've been staying in the refugee camps. I have not seen the world beyond the Dadaab. However, I never thought I will marry and have children in the camp. But 2 years ago, I found the life of my life. A full refugee from Somalia, and we now have one child.
My major responsibility now is to take care of my son. I hope that he will get a better chance in life, and unlike his father, will grow up with dignity and freedom in somewhere else, be it my home country, Somalia, or in a third country. In the meantime, the Dab is temporarily our permanent home.
Three, rising together, 15 minutes.
Nyalat, we need to hurry up and finish packing. The boys are about to start playing their game.
You're right. Let's focus and finish quickly. I hope today we'll have some customers.
Imagine the excitement when the people at the game test our treats. This could be a great opportunity for salt and sugar.
Manze, the way we've been working so hard on perfecting our recipe, now it's time to share its goodness with the world.
Yeah, we are ready. Let's go.
Sorry, I had to change. I spoiled my shirt with the dye.
No matter, this one, even this one is very beautiful. Very nice.
معزز بلو ما نبغى نطلع كل اللي معي هذول جوجيا يوفرم يا برهان جوجيا ما هي محمد زغالة سوى عيار مو زغالة ما بسانيو برو برنس أوسي that's too much listen روح كل شيء روح قاوينا حتى يروح مين عمس listen برو كل شيء واضح صحيح كيف باص واتيم بدندي قاعد انا برو باص عمر اقول اول جاتا اوكي لو بدنا نلبس بس we are one team okay shake hands right now oh that's great
عرور markii hore aan ciyaarahan dheeli jiray anigu laacib baan ahaa kubadana si fiican baan u dheeli jiray
guys listen you have done a good job all of the players I will give you everyone a cake Amina stop everyone is a straight line stop one by one How much? I'm going to send you an address.
It was 400 shillings.
Your phone number, please.
07.
okay?
Yeah.
Confirm it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Amina. Have a nice day.
Wow, Nyalat, we are doing really well today.
I can't believe we've sold everything today.
And we have made almost 3,000 shillings. I can't believe this.
At least we'll have enough to buy ingredients and also some tools for our business.
Or maybe we get a shop in town now. We can afford to pay the rent even.
And make more money.
Or maybe we go in school cooking and study cooking.
Or maybe we can travel the world, go learn new ways to make cakes, and then come here and sell them.
Or all above, why not?
Amina, what is it? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Amina, halka maxaa ka qabanaysaa?
Adeer soo maray saxiib jiraan saaxiibtay caawinayo.
Aniga waxba iska keenay dabaalin. Mar walba saaxiibtay baa caawinaya tiraahdaa. Waan dareemayaa meesha waxa la fadhiso.
Adeer isdeji waan ku bariyaa.
Dadku sidiisaba waa wada shaqaysan karaa laakiin Amina waxba iga qarinaysaa adeer.
Adeer ana dib kaaga sharaxaayo.
Dibaan kaaga sharaxaa baa leedahay. Waxaana maxay ahaayeen ganacsigan? Goorma lacagta aad ku heshay waxaan aad ku soo gadateen? Xagee ka keentay lacagtaas? yaa ku siiyey lacag adig? Bal fiir hadda waxaan. Maxay ahaayeen hadda waxaan? Buskud miyaa waxaan yaa garanaya masumba? Intee ka keentay lacag waxaad ku iibsato?
No, that's not true. She's my friend. We are doing
gabadhaana ma saaxiibada maxay ahayd?
Adeer waa saaxiibtay.
Saaxiibada way ahayd waan gartay. meesha waa sida leediin miyaa maxay meesha ka qabataan? Mar walba saan baa uga fadhiisay. Hadduu qofka ganacsi sameynayo ma aha in uu iskar qariyo. Waxba meeshan ku qarinaysaa. Haddaba waxaan ku sheegayaa in meeshan waxaad ku qarinaysaa aan garanayno waxaadna ciidkiisaaba ihaayaba. Ma garanayo waxaan meel ka keenteen. Wad weeraraysi gabariye. naftaadii keenta aniga maanta wixii ka bilowdana waxay noqonaysaa mar haddaad waxbarashadina diidina waxbaratana waa diiday inaad wax ii kariso guriga wax ka qabato waa diiday marka waxay noqonaysaa in adiga Soomaaliya ku wado oo adiga dhan maya waa ku wadaya
Can I come in?
Welcome. Would you like to open now?
Thank you. So what are you making?
I'm just trying to make some bread, but it is not going how I want.
Well, I'm actually good at making pancakes, but with bread, not so well. Can we help each other?
You want to collaborate with baking?
Why not? At least it's gonna be fun, and we can have something to do instead of just sitting around.
Okay, have it.
Thank you.
Where are you from?
I'm from South Sudan. I left my country because of violence. I lost my family. My grandmother and I came to Kenya. It's been really hard for us here.
Oh, I'm very sorry. I'm Kenyan citizen. I was born in here, Dadaab, but my grandparents went here as a long time ago.
Oh, that's why you speak so well. So you're what they call host community?
I guess so, but I wish I could travel the world.
Me too. I want to get resettlement. I hear people go to abroad. I want that.
You refugees are so lucky. Me, I stuck here forever.
Well, at least you're in your home country. I'm still struggling to adapt around here. Imagine I just recently learned of a shortcut to go for food distribution.
Oh no, the long road that go through the camel market?
Can you imagine?
Don't worry, I'm here. I can help you to settle in.
waxana ma baranaysid meel loo ii tagnaa
ma yeelay
war adiga waxba kaama gelin taas taa waxba kaama gelin gabadhan wax inay baratana way diiday waxna iima qabanayso gurigana waxba igama kariso mar walbana gabar isku jinsiyad ahayn oo isku diin ahayn bay hoosta kaga jirtaa
war xasan oo isdaji dadaan isku diin ahayn
war ma yeelayniyo
aan isku dhaqan ahayn way walaalo way noqon karaan waxna way wadaagi karaan way isdhex gali karaan business way samaysan karaan maxaa ka qadan say wax ka yiin adiga
mid baan kuu sheegayaa gabadhan oo rabtay inay raacdo Soomaalina ma aha xataa Kenyan ma aha
walaalo macaanow qof aan isku diin ahayn oo aan isku dhaqan ahayn oo macnaha wadaagi karaan shaqada way wadaagi karaan say wax ka yiin adiga
Uncle, I have a home. I'm a South Sudanese. I have a family.
I'm not here by choice. We have costumes. I'm not here by choice.
حسنوا حسنوا قبل وسودانيس ولا لو وقبل وناكسن إنه بس سمعت قبل هذا لا شقة ستاي ربطها معك وقول عايزين وحكاية هذه أنا بالهذا شيء رجيسو
آمن هيا أدر وأوجي إنا نولل هذاك سومرتي لكن وحن ما هو حن شرفت هذا كعيارة وحن سكوا عابين إنا نولل شيء نقول
هيا قبل في عن قبل هذاك نقول حسنوا عم بوارد بانا المهجن وحو في عن هذا لو قرنيا
ورمدي
تري فهروا المها وحو
فهروا أبانا هاي عمل قوس صدون تمام ليه
لو صدون من يسيب وحو صدون من يمله
ورد وقروح بدل تواركتان
وحو صدون من يمله
دل عيسى صدون تكور
وحو صدون من يمله قبل هاي سكود هيك اسفهم هي أصلا قرع صداني
هيا وبس
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Thank you for here with me.
Of course. You know, we are best friends now.
Thank you, Hala. This is good night.
ما شاء الله ما شاء الله وقفنا والله قناع سيدي ما شاء الله ما شاء الله ما شاء الله
Uncle, you're welcome.
وأكون فرحسن هاي واحد خبنيسان يا قناع سيدينا نقلاد وحاتها قبر أدو قروح بدن وفي عن وأنا كوفانا الصومالي كانوا حاجر رجينا ويش حتى كذا بالصومالي كانوا برت.
It's very hard, Uncle, but it's okay. I will learn. Next time you come, I might even tell you a story of Somali.
Okay, okay.
ما شاء الله.
أديك عمودان. هذا أديك نسيته كله ما شاء الله ما شاء الله. قبلي ما شاء الله يا سيدي. وأكون فرحسن.
Into last 7 minutes is The Untold.
Every story deserves to be told, but this urge is remaining untold. A silent scream, I cry in vain of the pain I'm forced to contain, the pain of his violation, tearing my innocence apart. A brother's love gone wrong.
Where?
A sister's broken heart, living a bent life. Hoping for a better tomorrow. Tomorrow that is not unfold. Tomorrow that gives me hope. The hope that is not unfold. The hope of the folded stalls. I live by the grace. The grace of the sun I see through through my storms. The storms that seems to never end. Here so I aim to reach to that end. With much effort, but little effect I aim. The aim for the ends. Ends that never meet. Ends that will never meet. In my eyes, the possibility is not unfold. In my heart, I believe.
Twende nyumbani. Malu. Kuna shida nyumbani mzee wangu, twende haraka.
I believe this possibility will be unfold.
Malu. Twende mzee. Kuna shida mzee? Malu, kuna shida? Niko shida sasa hivi ndani ndani.
Mulgi. Hey shikra malale.
Every story deserves to be told. But this urge is remaining untold.
Ladies and gentlemen, our hall has filled up a wee bit since we began. So those of you who've just arrived, welcome to the 16th FilmAid Kenya Film Festival. And I have to make a few announcements. This is as good a time as any. The first one is, I have in my possession a lost ID card. It belongs to Emmanuel Kibet Komen. Emmanuel Kibet Komen. Oh, get it from me later, dear. The other announcement to make is a lovely one, and that is that there will be free parking for everybody when you leave. Don't pay for your parking. Somebody, as you exit at security, will give you some kind of slip which you can show and save yourself some money. I think that's the message. And now we are going to have a short, I promised you he'd be back, and I keep my promises. Jax on the sax. I can't say Mr. Jax on the sax, because he's just a Jax on the sax. Thank you, Jax. You've just convinced me that I'll never be able to play that instrument. Thank you for that kind of learning period. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologized earlier on for very short introductions. Everybody has suffered, and next to suffer will be Fatuma Sanbur, Internews representative.
Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. I was expecting a longer introduction, but I'm always humbled to be introduced by the legend, Mwalimu Okumu. Good evening, everyone. Okay. I first want to apologize, Stella, for coming in late, but I'm glad that I found the films, which have been really exciting. Stella Suge, the country director for FilmAid Kenya, representatives from the embassies, different embassies, missions, and donor communities, UNICEF, UNHCR, ILO, GIZ, WFP, Kenya Film Commission, friends and colleagues from FilmAid Kenya, my brothers and sisters from Dadaab, Kakuma, and Kalobiei, and here in Nairobi, good evening. I am super excited to be here today on this colorful and vibrant event of the 16th Film Festival of 2023. This is actually my third attendance, and I must say I always look forward to these events. And September is apparently my favorite month because of film festival, so thank you, Stella, for the continued invitation. For me, what stands out in this unique event is the stories and the film from the different camps. I personally look forward to watching those films every year. Whereas I'm here as someone who loves film, I am also here to represent my employer, Internews Network. I have therefore drafted a very brief speech, but I would like, first of all, to tell you a short story, because Bwana Okumu was supposed to tell you that I'm passionate about storytelling, and I am a believer of our stories are best told by us. Several years before I was born, there lived a man in a small town in Jilib, south of Somalia. The man was married with children, and as is with the Somali culture, he kept several herds of camel. Life was good for this old man by many standards, and he lived a more or less decent life until he was forced to flee due to clan wars and the severe drought of the late 60s. On this day, the man had left his family on a normal routine to look for pasture for his camel, only that he never went back home that day, as his journey to get pasture for his camel only got him further and further into the bush and to the border between Kenya and Somalia. With the drought ravaging his beloved nation, he could not find his way back, and therefore he continued with his journey. Along the journey, he decided not to go back home, and he eventually sold all the remaining herds of camel in order to get to Kenya, not through the camps, but he decided to join a couple of poachers and found himself in Moyale in northern Kenya. His hope was to get to Kenya and make a good living, and one day, maybe, go back and get his family. That would not happen because in 2019, the old man died in Wajir County in northeastern Kenya. One of his desires was to reunite with his family, the first family in Somalia. He was fortunate enough to get his oldest son to Kenya, but sadly, he never reunited with his wife. That man was Mzee Sanbur Adan, and he was my father. I know you're wondering where I came from, yet my mother never reunited with my father until he died. Well, upon resettling in Kenya and acquiring citizenship, my father met my Kenyan mother and the rest, as they say, is history. I mentioned that I'm a storyteller. I got some of these stories and information from my dad, but it was never in one interview or one setting. It was bits and bits of stories and information here and there. I wish I had that skill back then to be able to capture his story from his journey from Somalia to Kenya and finally settling in Kibera, Nairobi, where I was born. I wish his story was captured in a film and maybe one day aired in a festival like this one. Now that you know September is my favorite month, I beg to end my story there. Let me get back to my speech and represent my organization. And first of all, I want to relay much greetings and congratulations from Internews' President, Madam Jeannie Bogo, the FilmAid Director at Internews, Gita Saidi, and our Regional Director for Sub-Saharan Africa, Dr. Brice Rombo. The Hollywood Foreign Press Association, which is one of the funders of FilmAid Kenya, has been a friend of FilmAid Kenya since 2002, 2003, and the relationship has been real and strong. For 2 decades, FilmAid has worked consecutively on HFPA-funded projects in Dadaab, Kakuma, and Kalobeyei, and also Nairobi, across the media entrepreneurship training program, and provided access to psychosocial relief content. Like many previous years, this year's grant will go towards amplifying community voices of refugees and their hosting communities through media trainings in visual storytelling and business training to enable them to be the change advocates in their communities. Building on the benefits and lessons learned from the previous years of 2022-2023, the media trainings, the FilmAid Kenya will continue with the implementation of the Inuka program for 2023-2024 from July 2023. The program will take place in Kakuma and Dadaab refugee camps and also the Kalobeyei integrated settlement. And we are happy to be part of this journey with FilmAid Kenya. Of course, the program will continue to support the 30 students, 15 from Dadaab and Kakuma, and the focus will also be on the 50% gender representation and host community representation. We are happy to continue with the 3 components of this particular program, and I know you are all aware of it, so I wouldn't want to preempt everything. One of them is the media and entrepreneurship training. The second one is, of course, the established media hubs, and the third one is the Film Festival. HFPA and Internews is happy to continue being part of the FilmAid Kenya journey in the camps, and we look forward to the next year. On behalf of HFPA and Internews, I want to congratulate the Country Director for FilmAid Kenya, all the winners and participants of this year's film festivals. The stories were amazing, and I wish FilmAid colleagues and all the young producers, the directors, the creatives, the content creators, all the best in the coming year. God bless you and enjoy your evening.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, it would be very odd indeed if there was no buy-in from the host country, Kenya. Therefore, it's my pleasure to introduce from the Kenya Film Commission, Timothy Owase.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Greetings from Kenya Film Commission and the Ministry of Youth Affairs, the Arts and Sports. Good evening. I take this opportunity to express my delight to be part of this forum by first congratulating the makers of the films that we have just watched. I hope you enjoyed the films, Rising Together, The Untold, Welcome to Kakuma, The Other Side of Dadaab. These are real stories, and that's what we believe in at Kenya Film Commission. So my being here this evening is just to appreciate the work of FilmAid Kenya. Continue doing what you are doing, because that's the only way we can be able to bring communities together, because through storytelling, we are able to connect the refugees and the host community and the rest of the country. I know most of these stories that have been told by FilmAid Kenya through the refugees that we are celebrating tonight are stories of Kenya, stories of Somalia, Burundi, Rwanda, Sudan, and South Sudan, among others. And that is the spirit of creating real, authentic stories that can be able to traverse the world and make a change that we want to see. As you all know, storytelling not only binds people together, but gives us an opportunity to get to understand our environment, and also it gives us room to influence change within our environment. Policymakers can be able to get to understand what is happening on the ground and really make informed choices through the stories that they are able to access. Kenya Film Commission is proud to be associated with FilmAid and all that it does, and we commit to continue working with FilmAid Kenya in championing the rights of refugees, because refugees deserve the best. It is imperative to continue inspiring storytellers to tell their stories the best way possible, and that's why from our end, we would like to continue partnering with FilmAid to champion capacity building of the refugees within their camps, wherever they are, and also to influence policies that can be able to support refugees to integrate with the host communities. This week, Kenya or Nairobi is hosting the Africa Climate Change Summit, where Kenya Film Commission is staging films. We have done this from Monday, and we are closing screenings of films tomorrow evening, basically championing stories of climate change and being able to communicate stories of migration, environment, as well as stories that touch on community to community. I believe, and I hope most of us here have been part of the Climate Summit in Nairobi, and you are able to get the real stories of why we need to be involved and why we need to also focus on the stories of migration, which directly touches on refugees. Creating capabilities through stories will help each one of us to generate and also inform, connect people, and create wealth among ourselves. The stories we watched here, if I may go directly to Welcome to Kakuma, you are able to see that there is life in Kakuma, and Kakuma is considered to be a city. There are shops, there are hospitals, there are cyber cafes, there are fields for play. Everything is found in Kakuma. For those who've not been in Kakuma, from these films, you are able to see what exactly happens on the ground. So I want to continue encouraging FilmAid that we continue championing the art of storytelling so that we can be able to bring to light what matters through the audiovisual. When we do that, we'll be able to change the world, and also, just as the film Rising Together brought out what you are able to see on your screen. During this festival, we were able to have a real exchange through panel discussions with the industry, and also FilmAid has been able to create room for our key stakeholders, those are local film stakeholders, to integrate with the refugees, which is a key factor that I would like to see as the Commissioner of Kenya Film Commission. And with that, I would like to also appreciate key supporters of the festival. For the many years you've been on board, I would like to encourage you to work with FilmAid and work with us as we continue championing this particular cause. For the winners tonight, the sky is the limit. Let's continue doing this because we'll be able to achieve much as we progress. Very lastly, I'm proud of FilmAid for sustaining this festival. To host a festival for 16 years, it's not a small feat. Let's clap for them. Thank you very much. And as we continue, next year to be 17 years, I believe we'll be able to work together to 20 years, to 25 years, and to 50 years. Yeah. At Kenya Film Commission, we have many programs that we undertake. We have programs that are geared towards schools. We have an outreach program to primary and secondary schools with an intention of mainstreaming filming in our education curriculum so that we are able to tell our stories from the youngest age going all the way to the university. We do not have to wait for one to come out of university and start telling stories. We can be able to tell stories from that youngest age. Number two, we have an empowerment program, which is purely a program that is focused on supporting filmmakers through financial inclusion. We provide seed funding to filmmakers, and I believe we can be able to extend this through FilmAid so that refugees can be able to access this particular facility. The other key component is capacity building, where we offer opportunities for training, short-term training that will be able to provide specialized skills that will enable refugees and all other filmmakers to tell their stories that are of high quality, that are worth being commercialized in the spirit of Talanta Hela, which is our mantra at the Ministry of Youth Affairs, the Arts and Sports. The other key program is that I'm looking forward that the FilmAid programs, or as far as the films are concerned, you can be able to submit your films to the Kalasha International Film and TV market so that we look for ways on how we can be able to commercialize this and have these stories told not only here in Kenya, but they should be able to go beyond our borders. In addition to this, we are looking forward to have these films participate in Kalasha Awards, which is meant to recognize high achievers in storytelling in this country. With those very many remarks, allow me to once again appreciate key sponsors to this festival, FilmAid Kenya, all partners and participants, and the students. And the winners tonight, congratulations. Let's continue working together, but the key word is together we can do great things. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Timothy. May I, ladies and gentlemen, beef up on an earlier pledge, and that is that this little card here is what the security man will give you as you exit. You will give him your parking ticket, you will get this, but the addition to that bit of news is that it'll then give you 15 minutes to exit. So don't do it with your last drink, meeting all your chums. Things could all go wrong. Now, the teacher in me is going to come to the fore because we're going to set up the sort of scenario for the next part of the program. So please listen to what I'm going to say, particularly you, Agnieszka, because you're going first. We're going to have an award ceremony. And basically, I'm going to introduce individuals by title. They will then say something, and having said something, they will stop. You will give them a tremendous, huge round of applause, and then I will announce somebody to receive something. It's all very complicated, but we'll have, yeah. So, we are now going to hear from a representative from GIZ, Agnieszka Samole.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, partners and friends. To start with, I have two news. One is the bad one is the good one. The bad news is that actually at this point of time I was not supposed to take over the stage. It was supposed to be our country director, but unfortunately he's unwell. That's why I'm standing here now. And is it another bad news that the mic doesn't work? The good news is that I have his speech. So I'm going to read it, so bear with me. Good evening. I'm truly honored to stand before you on this remarkable occasion hosted by our esteemed partner, FilmAid. This Gala Awards ceremony marks not only the culmination of a 2-week-long film festival in Kakuma, Dadaab, and Nairobi, but also a celebration of stories, voices, and cultures from refugees and their communities in Kenya. GIZ collaboration with FilmAid Kenya stands as a testament to potential of transformative power that lies within the creative industry to inspire change and drive socio-economic growth. The film festival we have witnessed over the past 2 weeks has showcased the incredible talent and diversity within the creative industry, especially the youth. From thought-provoking documentaries to panel discussions, these films have not only entertained us, but also shed light on important issues that resonate deeply with our society, including refugees and hosting communities. This film festival also allowed crucial subjects to be brought up for discussion and action. Matters such as economic self-sufficiency, sorry, it's not easy, I think digital would be easier, through vocational training, employment and entrepreneurship, solutions and resilience for mitigating displacement risk, climate change and displacement nexus were among the topics tackled during panel discussions. This creative industry and media are a dynamic force that can foster cultural understanding. Through storytelling, filmmaking, and artistic expression, we can bridge gaps, challenge stereotypes, and promote dialogue that paves the way for positive change and development. This is why GIZ did not hesitate to support FilmAid for this festival, because such interventions allow us to harness the potential of creative industry to address challenges such as youth employment and entrepreneurship. The creative industry is a promising avenue for youth employment, offering opportunities in fields such as filmmaking, design, music, and more. By supporting initiatives like this film festival, GIZ is contributing to development of a vibrant creative ecosystem that empowers youth individuals to unleash their talents and turn their passions into viable careers. As we applaud to the remarkable filmmakers and their outstanding works tonight, let us also emphasize the immense responsibility that comes with the art, skill, and the talent they possess. Creativity is a calling, and it carries in the power to shape perceptions, challenge norms, and influence hearts and minds. To the inspiring filmmakers, I encourage you to recognize the potential you hold, not only for your personal growth, but also for the betterment of communities you live in and interact with. Your storytelling has the ability to evoke empathy, provoke thought, and spark conversation matter. Your lens captures realities that might otherwise be unnoticed. By using your craft, you have the opportunity to shed light on untold stories, amplify voices, and drive positive change. As you harness your creative energy, consider how your art can serve as a catalyst for social progress, community development, and empowerment. At GIZ, we also believe that art in all forms can transcend boundaries and connect people from diverse backgrounds. And we have some projects in Kenya portfolio that prove this and support this. Just as art has the power to inspire, it also holds the potential to empower. As we celebrate your achievements tonight, I urge you to continue using your art not only for personal expressions, but as a force for good, a force that uplifts, educates, and fosters understanding also between refugees and host communities. By nurturing the entrepreneur spirit among young creatives, we not only drive economic growth, but also foster a culture of innovation and self-reliance. GIZ commitment to supporting youth entrepreneurship aligns with a broader version of shaping a future worth living. In conclusion, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to FilmAid Kenya, Stella here, for their dedication and vision, and to all partners who believe in the potential of creative industry and young people to shape a brighter future. Asanteni sana, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you very much. Now, what Agnieszka omitted to say, stay there, is that GIZ has made it possible for every filmmaker featured here tonight to have a startup kit which allow them to go on their merry way and make films. We'll have to see with our own eyes what it is, but I do believe that it's a computer and a camera, and thus armed, one can do anything. So, for the symbolic handover, I myself, this is a photo op. In my notes, this is the first official photo opportunity for us angling to be on the front page of tomorrow's papers. It's always worth a try. So, Executive Director, would you be so kind as to take to the stage from that side? These are theatrical directions. Beatrice, my boss, would you be so kind as to come around here and offer that bag to Agnieszka? Agnieszka. Agnieszka, would you be so kind as to hand over the symbolic bag to Stella? And now, photographers at the ready, stay there, ladies, if you would. We have the first symbolic recipient who is not only going to receive, but is going to display what is in the bag for the benefit of all doubting Thomases and Thomasinas. Right, and that person is going to be Gabriella Kennedy. There you go, that's Gabriella, big... Poor dear, she didn't know this was going to happen. Okay, now, Gabriella, for the photo op, you have to go into the middle, dear. You have to go into the middle of between the two, between Agnieszka and Stella, but behind them. And then you will open the bag, and display what's in it. That is the camera, and there's something else. There must be something else. There's something else, which is a marvelous computer. Now, Gabriella, you have to hold both of them, darling. You have to hold both. You have to hold both, then you have to turn to the camera, smiling sweetly, and then off we go. Enough photos, good people? Are we being seen on the moon, I wonder? We're heading for Mars, apparently. Okay. Agnieszka, thank you very much. You're a very good guinea pig, they call them. Thank you. Thank you. Now, the process is in train. I am going to call upon the representative of Regional Durable Solutions Secretariat, Freddie Carver. And you will do that for 4 people. Right, so Freddie, if you'd be so kind, first of all, say something. Remember the ritual. Say something memorable, the sort of quotes and things.
Thank you very much indeed, and good evening, everyone. So my name is Freddie Carver from the Regional Durable Solutions Secretariat. And I want to start by just saying thank you so much. Thank you first and most importantly to the filmmakers. Really, it was such a pleasure to sit and watch those 4 films. I don't know if we're watching any more, but I hope so. And I want to say thank you to Stella and to FilmAid for the work that they do. It really is a privilege for me to be standing here before you and to be part of this evening, and for Red to be able to support tonight. And really, I just want to say a little word. I think I will not talk for long, because I don't think you're here to listen to me. But I do just want to say briefly why I think for us, an organization that's focused on promoting durable solutions, or working with the aid sector in the region and in Kenya, with donors, with governments, with UN agencies, why this evening, why the work of FilmAid is so important. And I think it comes back to something that Caroline said earlier about agency, and about choice, and about voice, and about hearing from people. Durable solutions is one of these terms that gets talked about a lot. The aid sector, or the aid world, as I often call it, it has a lot of language which is hard to understand. And you can spend many years trying to understand what it is we're really talking about. We tend to try and explain that language with other language. We get very technical. We break it down. We talk about sectors. We talk about self-reliance. We talk about resilience. We talk about lots of different things. But what it comes down to for me, durable solutions, we heard from, I think, the second film earlier, ended with somebody saying, Dadaab is temporarily our permanent home. And this is the paradox of life, I think, for displaced people. And it's a very difficult situation to be in. And for me, if we're going to be serious about durable solutions, we have to understand it's about meeting people's aspirations. It's about meeting people's expectations for their lives and enabling them to take control of their lives in ways that meet those aspirations. But for all the myriad organizations and agencies involved in this work, the question comes back, how do we understand what those aspirations are? And they're changing all the time. We think about places like Dadaab and Kakuma have been around for decades. We've had generations of people coming through them. That doesn't mean they're static. As we saw again earlier, these are cities, they're evolving, they're changing. The world around them is changing. The way they interact with the world is changing. And if we are to really understand where people are at and where they want to go, then we need things like this. We need the work that FilmAid does. We need people to be able to talk in their own voices and to explain to those of us who are trying to work with them from the outside about what it is they want. And I don't think that we can have durable solutions unless we have that. So this work is really, really critical. And as I think Jeff was saying earlier, it's a crucial moment in Kenya. There's a new wave of discussions about how to support the refugee operation, how things can be made better. And I think that's also what Durable Solutions is about. Durable Solutions is about the international community doing better for people who are in very, very difficult situations. And I think that's another key function of this work, to hold us to account, to show us what better should look like, and to tell us when we're not doing better. So thank you very much to everyone for making this happen, and we really look forward to being involved in future. And congratulations also to all the filmmakers. It's really fantastic. Thank you very much indeed.
Stay put, Freddie. Stay put. I'm only telling you now that all this is being live streamed. So this was to give you an opportunity to be the real you, and you can see what you look like. Freddie, you stay there. And we've got our angling all wrong, but somebody's going to give you a gift pack, and then... No, stay where you are. No, it could be better. Freddie, come this way. You're a genius. Right, so now it's quicker to get to Freddie, and coming in from this side, first of all, will be Steve Kiza. And please stay long enough to have your picture taken. Oh, they've disappeared. Oh my God. Oh, there they are. Right. Big smile. Followed by, do forgive me if I mispronounce the names, I'm just sort of phonetically reading them, but the next one ought to be Sarafina Areman. Wait for a minute before we get all the boards up. This is our bread and butter, folks. Please, could you move the thingy bobs across? And Freddie, you might have to get a bit closer to them. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay. There we are. May I please now call Victoria Martin. And in this grouping, may I call upon Damaris Aquar. And a big round of applause for Freddie for being such an excellent guinea pig number 2. If we may now have a representative for the Royal Embassy of Denmark. Again, do forgive me if I pronounce it wrong, but I have here to read Kanar Patrus. Say something, present something.
This goes a little lower from my height. So, good evening, everyone. My name is Kanar Patrus. You pronounced it very well, John.
Thank you.
I'm the team leader for the refugee and humanitarian team at the Danish Embassy. And I am very happy to be here tonight to support the work of FilmAid Kenya and, of course, the talented filmmakers that are here tonight. Tonight we've been exposed to truly inspiring stories of hope, agency, resilience, joy in the face of hardship, coexistence between refugee and host communities. And it's really highlighted the importance of us continuing to support these communities, the importance of the delivery of services to both communities, and the importance of creating an enabling environment that can harvest all that entrepreneurial spirit that we saw exhibited in the film to allow refugees and host communities alike to make a living and support themselves. And that's exactly what we try to support with the work that we do at the Danish Embassy. We are on the cusp of launching a new $30 million program to support durable solutions for refugees and host communities in Turkana, with a special focus on self-reliance and integrated service delivery. And I think the stories tonight are a true testament to just how important such efforts are. So thank you very much for reminding us. It's been a pleasure to experience your art tonight. And hopefully with these startup kits, you'll be able to continue to pursue your passions and tell your stories. So with that, I'll hand back over to John to guide us through the next award ceremony.
Yes, please. Could you please go to that side of the stage? Yes, exactly. And the photo op moment. First of all, may I call upon Oliver Losike to James Naoya. Remy Badodo. Feza Vuge. And thank you very much, Kana Patrus. Thank you. May I invite to the stage Joyce Foni, a lead researcher and a global refugee youth network coordinator. Whoops. Oh dear, just about when I was about to get a gold medal. Okay, we'll have somebody step in for her. Jeff, do the honors. Jeff Savage. Jeff Savage. And may I call upon to the... Well, you can't say something again, are you?
I'm not, no. You've heard enough from me.
But say something, just to sort of like make us happy.
Can we give a round of applause for our Master of Ceremonies, please? Yes, John? Yeah.
Thank you.
He has a very low self-esteem, as you can tell, so he needed that.
Jeff on this side. Nargis Abbas. Thank you. Joshua Etabo. Tony Maserata. Tony's not around. Would somebody represent Tony, please? A buddy of Tony. A trainer, the trainer for trainer. This is the trainer Dennis. Trainer Dennis. Yeah. Maybe Halif Hashi? Thank you, and a round of applause for Jeff. Thank you so very much. The last round for this startup kit will be presented by Mohamed El Montasir, Chairman, NRG. Oops. Oh. Who's going to be represented by George Mwangala from Papas. You see what a good memory I have? I just worked it out. George Mwangala from Papas. Right, let's see him. Speech, presentation.
Thanks, John. Normally I don't like speaking quite a lot, but thanks, FilmAid. This is really great. We're excited to have seen the stories, and we look forward to Festival 17. And I would encourage you, Stella, to also think about stories around climate. We know you've been very interested in thinking about climate and refugees, and so maybe this is an opportunity because we have quite a lot of people in the room who've been at the summit, who also are very interested in listening and hearing about climate stories, right, from the refugees and how climate really impacts the refugee communities. So let's think about it. Let's figure out how we get to support each other around it. And we look forward to, from Papas as well, to continue supporting the work that FilmAid does and supporting the festival next year as well. Thank you.
Could we please have Abdirazak Abdikadir? Marian Noor. Ali Aden. Ramla Balal. Thank you, George. Done. In the nick of time. Right. 1, 2, 3 speeches, and then the award ceremony itself. May I, before we get to the speeches, may I call upon a spoken word poet, K2, and he will explain why he is K2 as opposed to Y2 or Z2.
The Executive Director, FilmAid Kenya, Madam Stella Suji, the invited dignitaries, the audience. Let me say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So my name is Chol Matiop Chol, but mostly known as K2, the only brown South Sudanese in Kenya so far. I don't know if that's true though. Yeah, so John has just said right now that I'll have to explain what K2 means. So basically, I'm a South Sudanese refugee, born and raised in Kakuma. So my name comes from my life, that is, I was born in Kenya, in Kakuma. So the first two Ks of the first two words. That's basically where So I'm gonna be doing a poem, but before that I just want to say thank you to FilmAid Kenya. They've been with me throughout my journey as a poet. We've been on many stages, and I'll just want to say thank you for always being with the refugees and always being with me. So I wanna share with you my story. Hi. I'm from South Sudan. Yes, I know. You've all probably heard of the country. So that's my motherland. And because of civil war, I've got brothers and sisters staying in every part, all over continents. I've got others in Australia, others in Canada, Ethiopia, Uganda, and thanks to the United Nations and the Kenyan government, I'm living with others in Kakuma. Our negative stories have been told in every part all over the world. And whenever we think it's coming to an end, that's when it starts. The other day, I tried calling Mom to ask how everybody's doing back at home. She picked up, but she seems to have been in a hurry. Because all I could hear was, son, 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 son. And before she hung up, I heard gunshots. At this time I knew a child somewhere has become an orphan. Someone's father has become a victim of death. A woman has been turned into a widow. A massacre had taken place. This was 15th December 2013, a year that made me believe death really exists. And this got me asking my father, Dad, what has always been your dream in this country? He took me by the hands, looked into my eyes and started shedding tears and said, son, I've never had a dream because I've never slept. How do you expect me to sleep when all I've been doing is running in the bushes, protecting you guys from flying bullets? How do you expect me to sleep and whenever I close my eyes, I'm being woken up by sounds of innocent women, children, men crying for their lives? How do you expect me to sleep when the floor I'm supposed to sleep on is full of blood? And that's why nowadays, I'm not known by my name. I'm known as a refugee. I've always wanted to be a journalist. But wait, how do I report death of my people each and every time? My sister wanted to be a doctor, but she can't bear having blood of innocent lives in her hands every day. My younger brother wanted to be a professional footballer, but his legs were taken away from him. I don't know why all this is happening, but tribe is nothing but a name we've only been given to divide us. So instead of preaching war, why don't we preach peace? Instead of spreading hate, why don't we spread love? Instead of dividing ourselves, why don't we unite together as one? Because I went to a foreign land, tried making friendship with this guy. Everything was going well, but he immediately walked away from me when a passerby said, hey, be careful, he's from South Sudan. At this time I started hating myself. Not because of the country, but why was I even born in such a time whereby your brother helps you today and tomorrow, he's the same person that pulls a trigger on your head. And that's why nowadays, I'm not known by my name. I'm known as a refugee. My flag has 6 colors. Black, a color that represents the black melanin skin that my people have. As no matter the scars on it, it will still look beautiful. As no matter the tears that are fallen on it, it's still gonna shine with it. Red, a moment of silence. The blood that our forefathers shed when struggling for freedom. White, the peace that we've been longing for decades after decades. Green, the natural wealth that my country has that is not seen because of war. Blue, a color that takes me back to the good old days when we used to laugh as we fish on that river Nile. Yellow, a color that gives me hope and determination that no matter the darkest days that my people and my country is going through, one day, one time, there'll be a light at the end of the tunnel. Because I want to be known by my name, not as a refugee. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call upon the... No, I should like another round of applause for K2. Yeah. Artists of the world unite. Ladies and gentlemen, may I call upon the FAK Board Chairman, Julius Mwatu.
You can clap for me again. Thank you. You know, in life you get what you ask for. Our guest of honor from the Embassy of Netherlands, Jolis Bommel, our distinguished guests and speakers, Geoffrey Savage from UNHCR, Roland Landis from WFP, Caroline Juki, ILO, Shaheen Nilofa from UNICEF, Fatuma Sabul from Internews, Timothy Owase, KFC representative, and the representative from GIZ, John Burugu, DRS Commissioner, and other speakers who made remarks and helped us in the presentations, our strategic partners, and I know many of them are represented here. The FilmAid Kenya staff and board. I can see Dr. Maragu, the treasurer of FilmAid Kenya, and Stella, our executive director and secretary to the board. Our students, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Before I read a speech, which I'm required by Stella to read, and I need to comply, and Stella told me that it's going to take 7 minutes. Our partners, I know you know that Stella is very precise, but I will try to take less. Allow me to make 1 or 2 comments and say, ladies and gentlemen, it's a very exciting moment for us at FilmAid Kenya, and today FilmAid Kenya celebrates 21 years in Kenya, and this film festival, as you are aware, has been running for the last 16 years, and it has been getting better each year. But allow me to say that this year has actually surpassed our expectations. And especially coming at a point when, yes, you can clap. Thank you. And this is coming at a point when we, and Caroline Juki talked about it, we had a bit of challenges because of reduced funding. And ladies and gentlemen, let me say that for 16 years, we have graduated students, and we always sit down as FilmAid and ask ourselves, what next? And we always ask ourselves, how do we take forward this talent? And today, I think the narrative is different. Thank you, our partners. Thank you, GIZ, for the startup kits. Let us clap. And ladies and gentlemen, this is part of the story. And the story, I believe, is going to be told differently as we aspire to integrate these students to mainstream journalism and possibly introduce them to the world of business. I believe that they will continue to tell the story better. And this reinforces our aspirations at FilmAid. And we say, as FilmAid, we envision a world in which all people are informed and empowered to creatively tell their stories and in their own voice. And tonight, we have listened to the stories, we have heard the voices, and more are still underway. We strive to inform, engage, and aspire. Mambo matatu, as Shaheen from UNICEF put it. And this is our belief. And we believe that communities are the source of wisdom and the center of empowerment. We believe that access to information is a human right, and we believe that the power of your story has the power to change the world. And that is the thread that ties our aspirations together to inform, engage, and aspire. So, dear distinguished guests, esteemed filmmakers, and passionate advocates of humanitarian causes, welcome to the FilmAid Festival, where art and compassionate come together to amplify the voices of the displaced. As the board chairman of FilmAid Kenya, I stand before you today to shed light on a crucial aspect that lies at the heart so I stand before you today to shed light on a crucial aspect that lies at the heart of our organization's work, the profound link between humanitarian response and development. Ladies and gentlemen, in times of crisis, when individuals and communities are grappling with the hardships of displacement, it is imperative that our response transcends immediate relief efforts. As supporters of FilmAid, you understand the transformative power of storytelling and its potential to heal, empower, and inspire change. Our goal through this festival and our ongoing initiatives is to bridge the gap between emergency aid and sustainable development. By harnessing the compelling medium of film, we not only provide a voice for those silenced by displacement, but we also foster awareness, understanding, and empathy among both local and global communities. We believe that every displaced person deserves to have their experiences heard, their aspirations acknowledged, and their resilience celebrated. Through partnerships with local organizations, governments, and development agencies, FilmAid strives to ensure that our response to humanitarian crisis goes beyond immediate relief. We aim to create sustainable pathways for individuals and communities to rebuild, flourish, and contribute to the development of their societies. By integrating our efforts into broader development frameworks, we maximize the impact of our work and create lasting change. So today, I invite you to recognize the pivotal role that the private sector plays in safeguarding the rights and well-being of refugees, while humanitarian organizations like FilmAid provide valuable support. The private sector possesses unique capabilities and resources that can truly enhance refugee protection efforts. As the global refugee crisis continues to unfold, we must acknowledge that the burden of protection cannot rest solely on the shoulders of governments and humanitarian organizations. Through strategic partnerships, private sector entities can contribute to sustainable solutions that go beyond philanthropic endeavors. By leveraging the expertise, creativity, and resources, companies can make a tangible difference in the lives of displaced individuals. The private sector has the power to offer employment opportunities, promote entrepreneurship, and facilitate access to education and healthcare for refugees. By doing so, not only do they help fulfill basic needs, but they also empower individuals to rebuild their lives with dignity and self-sufficiency. Through initiatives such as job training programs, mentorship opportunities, and investment in local economies, the private sector can serve as a catalyst for positive change. However, it is crucial that collaborations are rooted in ethical practices, devoid of exploitation, and genuinely prioritize the protection and the well-being of refugees. Through mutual respect, transparent communication, and shared accountability, we can create partnerships that yield sustainable outcomes, leaving a lasting impact on the lives of displaced individuals and affected communities. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, allow me to thank our staff, led by the Executive Director, Stella Sunge, for putting this together. Thank you. Allow me to appreciate the FilmAid board, starting with Dr. Marangu Jogu, who is also the treasurer. And thank you. Dr. Marangu is a renowned personality in the humanitarian space. I want to thank Mark Somen, who I took over from as chairman. And Mark is a hospitality professional of about 25 years. I want to thank Ameria, who is a Genesis Award-winning producer and director. Willie Mutunga, well known to you, former Chief Justice of Kenya, and a passionate human rights personality. And finally, myself, the current chairman. And I always give a story because when I joined this board, I was the president of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants. So from finance, I really never appreciated what this humanitarian space does. And today, I think I can give a different story of my own. So I am a financial and governance auditor. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying this because as a FilmAid board, we are very passionate about governance. That is actually our key focus, and we want to give assurance to our partners, even as we seek to enhance our partnerships. In conclusion, distinguished guests, let us unite in our commitment to link humanitarian response and development, and recognize the indispensable role of the private sector in refugee protection. Together, we can overcome barriers, challenge stereotypes, and empower those who have been forced from their homes. Thank you for joining us today, and I look forward to witnessing the transformative power of film as we come together to advance for a world where refugees are not just protected, but also embraced, celebrated, and given the opportunity to thrive. Asanteni sana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to hear from our guest of honor. And I'm sure that I don't need any special pleading to be given permission to read his bio in full. Prior to his current position, he held various positions within the Netherlands Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as well as within the World Bank and the UN. From 2017 to 2021, he served as the Deputy Ambassador and Head of Cooperation at the Netherlands Embassy in Uganda. From 2014 to 2017, he was Deputy Head of the Civil Society Division in the Social Development Department within the Netherlands Ministry of Foreign Affairs, responsible for the development and coordination of strategic partnerships with NGOs and civil society organizations. Between 2012 and 2014, he was seconded to the Global Partnership for Education Secretariat at the World Bank in Washington, D.C. as Cluster Lead Fragile and Conflict-Afflicted Countries and Senior Country Operations Officer. From 2009 to 2012, he served as First Secretary General, Budget Support and Education at the Netherlands Embassy in Mali. From 2006 to 2009, he was Senior Policy Officer Education in the Cultural Cooperation, Education and Research Department within the Netherlands Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He worked in this department as well from 1997 to 1999. Prior to that, he worked from 2002 to 2006 as Senior Program Officer for the Association for the Development of Education in Africa within the International Institute for Educational Planning at UNESCO in Paris, and from 1999 to 2002 as Junior Program Officer Education in the UNICEF Burkina Faso Field Office in Ouagadougou. A gentleman worth listening to, I would say. Ladies and gentlemen, the Deputy Ambassador and Head of Trade and Development at the Netherlands Embassy in Kenya, Joris van Bommel.
Well, thank you, John. I'm Jumbo. And let me also say all protocol observed, if I'm allowed in that sense. Well, standing here in front of you, but just in between the final ceremony of the award winners and after all the beautiful personal speeches and the very intentional, powerful, amazing films, I think everything has been said for this evening, even about my own CV. So let me only have to say that we are extremely proud as the Netherlands Embassy, as the Netherlands, to be able to support Film Award and FilmAid and the FilmAid Film Festival directly from our cultural budget, because we think it's also a cultural event, jointly together with our partners from Prospect, UNICEF, ILO, but also UNHCR, World Bank and IFC, but also with all the other donors and sponsors financing FilmAid. Very proud of being able to do that. Secondly, let me also express the appreciation to the government of Kenya for the long-term commitment to host refugees and asylum seekers. It is really amazing how long that is being done already by the government of Kenya. Thirdly, films matter. Films matter a lot, and also other forms of arts, the spoken word, the storytellings. And we can see that because it informs, it engages, and it inspires. But I would like to add one more. It also challenges. It inspires for me, and one of the stories we saw just this afternoon, of this evening, is about the girl in the Welcome to Kakuma film, the basketball girl, which reminds me about my own daughter, the basketball girl. The empowerment, the proud, the encouragement of her in that story, being proud of her city or her world city. I think that's the story we want to see, want to hear. That's inspiring. But also the challenges for me. The challenges we see in the stories of the other Dadaab, the rising together, the challenge between host communities and the refugees, and the Untold film. That helps us, and I think it should help, as was said also earlier this evening, it should help us think and reflect about our own role. What we are doing, in our case, in the Prospect Partnership, to really try to support social, economic support to refugees and to host communities, jointly with the other donors, jointly with the government of Kenya, and jointly with refugees and host communities themselves. It helps in that sense. And lastly, I promised I keep it short because I'm in between the final award ceremony and the beautiful stories and films. I really would like to congratulate all the filmmakers, the graduates, and of course also the winners, which will be announced just after this. Hongera for all the winners. Thank you very much.
And may I award you the prize for the shortest speech? Oh, don't worry. Okay, right, sorry. A round of applause for our guest speaker. Now, if we'd really got ourselves organized with sound people, we would have had a drum roll, because it's now time for the awards ceremony. And are we ready? Let's see if we're organized. If I were to ask somebody to, are you ready to hand over the awards? Again, so I'm going to read them, yes. And then whoever is going to be presenting the awards again for the photo op moment, could you please be on this side? And could the recipients again come from there? And in the manner of Hollywood, I need to find my notes as you twiddle your thumbs. It's all very exciting. I am the one who has the info. Agnieszka, may I call upon you to hand out the first award, and once again, you are going to be proof of whether the preparation works. So anything could happen, but I'm hoping that you will present the award for Best Editing, and that award will go to The Untold. And sadly, we'll just accept the awards, but unlike Hollywood, there will be no speeches. Why? Because it's late. Thank you, Agnieszka. May I call upon Irene Wangoi of UNFPA to take the honors at the stage, on the stage, with the stage. And she will present an award for Best Cinematography for a film we couldn't see tonight, but which was entitled The Climate Change Champion. Is there somebody to receive it? There must be. Okay, I'll receive it on their behalf. Oh, here we go. Thank you very much. It's always been a pleasure. Now I'll get my picture taken. Brill, I managed. Thank you very much. What's happened to the system? Okay, it's been taken away from me. You all saw that. Who am I going to call upon now? If I may call upon Caroline Njoki. And could she please present the award for Best Sound, and it will go to The Untold. And the result is, the request is for you to be more central, Thank you very much, Caroline. May I call upon Praxidis Torore of IPOA, and she will present the award for Best Script, and the award for Best Script goes to the film Rising Together. Thank you very much, Praxidis. May I call upon Joanina Karugaba from the UNHCR Regional Bureau, and she will present the award for Best Original Score. Again, a film I believe we did not see tonight, and I hope somebody's there to receive it, otherwise I'll receive another award. Shuttered. Thank you very much, Joanina. Wow. May I call upon Lauren Landis, Country Director, WFP, to present the Film Award for Best Director. And that goes to the film Rising Together. Thank you very much, Lauren. May I call upon Timothy Owase to present the award for Best Emerging Film. And I do believe I can still read properly. I've got full vision. It goes to Rising Together.
To ensure continuity of filmmaking in Kakuma and all other refugee camps, FilmAid will become a filming agent in Kenya.
Thank you very much, Timothy. Joris, would you be so kind? Our guest of honor will present the award for the overall winner. And at this stage, I start walking around aimlessly, looking at people, giving them a smile. How are you? Nice to see you. Oh gosh, oh, never knew you were here. The Untold. Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Our ceremony draws to a close because we're going to hear a vote of thanks, as you could well imagine. But before that, I'd like to repeat again that you can trade in your parking tickets for a free voucher to exit, but don't do it until 15 minutes till the end. And the bar will miraculously reopen. And this is the time for me to announce the next speaker and also to bid you not adieu, but au revoir. It's been a pleasure being in your company. You can see I enjoy myself at these things. It's sort of, I could keep on going, ever-ready battery and all that sort of thing. But our very last speaker, followed by Jax on the sax, to the instruction says, serenades the guests out of the hall. Hope you can manage that. Sir, Dr. Marangu Njogu, member FilmAid Kenya's Board of Directors, for a vote of thanks. Good night.
Mine is just very short. It's not a speech, but to thank all of you and thank the donors. I think you've done a great job from UNHCR, UNICEF, WFP, UNICEF, and GIZ, Thank you so much for the work you have done and for supporting us. You have seen actually the effort of your support, giving the young people there a voice that they can speak for themselves. So thank you very much. Can we clap for them? The staff who have worked very hard to actually develop those skills that you have seen here, we wish to thank them very much, ended by Sarah. Can we also clap for them? The board, led by the chair, Julius, thank you very much for providing wonderful leadership. The students themselves who are graduating today, for their willingness and determination to actually make a change for themselves and for their community, we thank you very much for that. Our partners, the Internews and all other partners, we are very appreciative for being with us all through. Can we also clap for them? The KFC, we are very happy you have sent, you give these young people seed money and build their capacity. We really appreciate and we look forward for that. Finally, I would like to say the audience, you have been very patient. You have encouraged all of us. People are very happy. The presentation could not have been better without you. So can we all clap for ourselves? One challenge we take away from here, from the films we saw, is the voice about the humanness, the relationships. And K2 said he doesn't want to be called a refugee, he wants to be called a human being. And this makes me also a little ask a few questions. Is the refugee the right name? Or is it the wrong name? Most of the times when we call people names, when we label people, we take away their power, we take away their talent. But to me, I think, listening to what they were saying here, I think although it's a long name, comes places where human beings live. So the first thing is we see them as human beings. Second, then living in the refugee camps. I think that's a challenge I've taken from here, and I think we should all take this and see how we can help them. For us is to help them the way you have continued helping them so that they can have greater opportunities. With this, I thank all of you for all the support you have given from the donors to the teachers in the classroom and the students. So thank you and have a lovely time. And finally, and not least, John Sibi, you have been a wonderful MC. We thank you. Yeah. You have been a wonderful MC. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You have been with us all the time.
Thank you.
Asante sana.
Thank you very much, sir.
So this is yours.
A photograph with the guests and the prize winners. One more request from the photographers. A group photograph, speakers, anybody who did anything excluding the audience. Good night.